Hey, what's up everybody? This is a build I've been trying to work on ever since really the start of Diablo 3. Well, really any Diablo game, but this is just a pure chain lightning build. And it's really, I've been trying to get it up so that it could actually do the highest level content. Still not able to get there. Maybe if I get all the right pieces. This one's incomplete. This is where it is right now. So let's get right to it. Primary, of course, electrocute with chain lightning. And then I have this is my second primary shock pulse. I'll show you why with living lightning in a little bit. And then that's it really. I just have teleport with wormhole just for a little bit of movement speed extra. Energy armor with pinpoint barrier for 5% increased critical hit chance. Familiar with spark flint for 10% increased damage, and magic weapon force weapon for 20% more increased damage. That way, really, it's not adding it. It's just electrocute damage from the skills along with paralysis for the stun damage. I'm wavering will because if I have a tough enemy, I will have to electrocute him quite a bit. So that'll increase, my defense and damage. And then also, if anything gets close, it'll take additional damage with audacity. And on top of that, if it's a single enemy, I could run up and use it. That way, I'm getting a damage boost. Finally, a blur just for the defense. And for my gear, for my weapon, I have Thunder Fury, which is an ancient, and then offhand is Mycon's Ball of Hate for electrocute. Can hit enemies more than once. My only set bonus is actually the Legacy of Nightmares, and one of the two is ancient, and then quite a bit of my gear is ancient, but I'm missing ancient Velvet Camarel, Mycon's Ball of Hate, the Shame of Delzer, and one of the Legacy of Nightmare rings. So that if I was able to get those, that would increase the damage by 400% more. So that might push me into going up to Torment 10. Right now we're on 8. So what else do I have? Really not much. This is all just kind of put together. Gladiator gauntlets, Pauldron of the Skeleton King, just for their ancient bonus, same as the legs, and boots, Nilfer's boast, but that doesn't help this build in any way. Steady strikers for just some increased attack speed. Nothing special. Squirt's necklace for the neck. My legendary gems are Simplicity's Strength, which increases my primary skill damage by 45%. It also gives me health back on hit, so that really helps. It generates a lot of health when I use Electrocute. I have Gem of Efficacious Toxin. This is just for primarily the 10% increased damage. But one thing about this, using this combined with Pain Enhancer, which gives me bleed damage along with increased attack speed, is that sometimes when I chain lightning, there will be one or two guys left with a little bit of health. This will finish them off. But it also does quite a bit of damage on top of that. I've tried out other legendary gems, so this seems to work the best for this build. I've tried the slowing with the increased damage. Increased damage when you CC a guy, and it's just for some reason it doesn't work as well as these. Also the belt, I got the Shame of Delzer because signature spells now attack 50% faster. That's a huge boost in damage, and also restore arcane power. And I'll go into that here in a second after I go through some of my skills. My critical hit chance is almost 50%. Critical hit damage 349. I want to get that up a little bit. Otherwise, everything else is pretty standard. Attack speed 28%, not including the 50% increase there. So as you can see, I can attack really fast with Electrocute. And then also my Electrocute damage is increased by 145% there. And the reason why is Simplicity's Strength, and with Kanai's Cube, I also wear the Depth Diggers, which they recently allowed wizards to use. Before it never did, but now with the Shame of Delzer, I'm sure I'm murdering how to pronounce that. But with this, it actually works with primary skills. So there's a lot that you could do that opens up a lot of doors for sets, 6-piece set bonuses, everything like that, using those two. Finally, this is a 3 chain lightning build. So I have Thunder Fury for 1 chain lightning, Electrocute for another, and then finally Odin's Sun for a 3rd chain lightning. So when I shoot off a single chain lightning, you'll see a lot going on. It's not as amazing as you'd think, but it still is pretty cool. And then finally for my my ring or neck for the cube, I'm using the S of Jordan. That way it randomly pulls a whole bunch of enemies together, and then that's where this build really shines. When you have grouped enemies. Single enemies, that's where it falls. So, oh, also my chest piece is the Aquila Cuirass, the newest one. So now, since I'm not using any primary resources besides just buffing myself, I will always have a 50% damage reduction. So that's a great defense bonus. See, as you see here, I'm over 100 million on toughness, so I'm pretty tough and over 1 million health. And then damage 2.6, so all the stats look real good, but it's just using Electrocute, even with all these buffs, is not, I'll show you, it's not as good as I want it to be. But it's getting close, and then hopefully here coming up I'll be able to get it up in the higher levels. So, as you can see, it's able to wipe everything out fairly quick. This is, of course, Torment 8, though. I have been able to use it on up to level 40 rips. It just takes a little bit longer. And I mean, by all means, it is a very good build for Torment 8. It's just, I try to make things that will just obliterate shit one shot. So, that's what people are kind of used to nowadays with Diablo 3, just these monster builds that are able to do billions of damage. This one's able to do about 150 million maximum, and typically like 20, 30, 40, 50 million, which is very good for farming. One thing that I have done with this exact build is actually switch out Odin's Son and use the Aether Walker for the teleport. And then that allows me to move very rapidly and then shoot just a single on Torment 6, just a single
How does that feel?
chain lightning, and then that'll wipe out everything, like even most elites. So then I'll just teleport through, just zapping them every now and then just keep going. And then what I'll do is I'll farm a few regular rifts, and then get the stones, and then go in and do a couple level 25 rifts, and then get some gems that I'm going to use up there. So it's a great farming build. As you see, it's actually really cool to see how it works its way through enemies. That was a single cast. That's what I'm trying to get. The point that I'm trying to get to is where I could cast a single time at Torment 10. But I don't know, I think that's just might be a little too difficult. Torment 10, the health is so high that I don't know if I could get there with just a primary, even with all the buffs. But we'll just have to wait and see. Now I know I could do a lot of different things. Also, the Odin's Son is not the best for this, best damage for the cube. Actually, the Shard of 8 is, and I'll probably use that in upcoming builds. It actually works very well with this because you're firing off charge bolts, which do quite a bit of damage. I think it's 250% weapon damage. And since you're using your Electrocute is able to fire so many times, it's proccing over and over again. So then you got a whole bunch of damage flying out instead of just waiting for that proc of Odin's Son or anything like that. So I personally like that, but this is just purely a chain lightning build and working on everything chain lightning, so that's why I try to stay with my original concept of where I wanted to be at. But the damage numbers are very high. Even the whites are up in 7 million, even 100 million. So that's not too bad. So that's just kind of where this build is at. Like I said, it's a great farming build. If you can get a few of the pieces together, even lower torment levels, you could farm pretty quick. I was able to get a lot of legendaries and a lot of gear, new gear, just using this build with the Aether Walker. And because using the Aether Walker in this build, since this generates, watch, as you see I'm out, and then you can get right back up. So with the Aether Walker, it only uses 25, so I could cast that a couple times. and then I'll just have to shock a few people. So typically you could aether or teleport a couple times, you'll be within range of enemies. Shock them, you'll be back to full. Also, it's changing over energy armor to where you get 20% more instead of 20% less. That'll give you another 2 teleports. So that's why it's such a good build for farming. Also, one thing that works out pretty well, since everything is like this, is living lightning with shock pulls. When there's a single enemy, it actually works pretty well, because you could cast so many at once. Now, it does not work as good as electrocute on groups or ranged. As you see, it's pretty short, but it does work if you don't feel like using electrocute. It actually only isn't just about as powerful as electrocute, but for some reason I just like using it better. You put up a lot more numbers. I think the numbers are a little smaller though, damage. So otherwise, that's the build in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll update this video if I'm able to get more pieces to see where it goes. Of course, this is Torment 8. I could do Torment 10, but I would be standing there just shocking the piss out of things for quite a while. So anyway, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe and or hit the like button. That helps me quite a bit. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot.